So the folks at Hearthstone just put out some new patch notes, and they are absolutely crazy. We've got a lot of things to talk about, including a new expansion of sorts that's Wild exclusive. Yeah, Caverns of Time is coming to Wild with new cards and reworked cards. We're going to talk about that. We've got some big balance changes for standard format, including some buffs that look pretty interesting and intriguing. So we're going to talk about that. There's also the next season of Twist that sounds, I think, much better than the previous iteration of Twist. We got Battlegrounds stuff and a few other various little things. But let's jump into, first off, this new Wild format expansion and talk about what that means. Yeah, as you can see here, it says Hearthstone updates new special set, Caverns of Time. The Infinite Dragonflight is trying to go back in time and change the way the Battle of Ahn'Qiraj went against the old god Cthulhu. The fate of the world and the true timeline hangs in the balance. It's up to you to hold off their attack or join them instead. Caverns of Time is a new type of Hearthstone expansion, including card reprints, new cards, and some new card cosmetics. It's also for Hearthstone's first ever direct to Wild expansion, meaning that the cards in it will not be legal in standard and can be balanced toward Wild. Caverns of Time launches on August 31st and includes 147 cards, 113 of which will be buffed reprints, and 34 of which will be brand new cards. And here is actually an example of some of the cards. And as you can see, they synergize with things we saw in the past in Wild format, like Eye Stalk of Cthulhu here, a 4-mana 1/1 with taunt and lifesteal. Whatever your Cthulhu gains attack or health, this does too, wherever it is. So this is basically another scaler in a Cthulhu deck to help you get extra benefits of scaling up your Cthulhu and giving you some lifesteal along the way. We got Totally Totems that will summon you all 5 basic totems. I think 5 probably means they're going to get the spell damage totem back out of Totally Totems. So this is a way to like get a bunch of bodies on board and also get that spell damage. You could maybe play this with a bioluminescence or something, you know, for crazy big spell damage potential. 4 mana still seems kind of expensive there, but yeah, what do I know? I don't play a lot of Wild. And then finally, Murazond, Thief of Time, a 7 mana 6/6 dragon. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, discover a dragon and deal damage equal to its cost to all other minions. So a value generator, big old board clear here for Priest, and dragon synergies and Reno synergies. So playing into a couple different things Priest has been able to do well in the past, which looks cool. So Cthulhu's coming back in Wild, Reno's coming back in Wild. I don't know enough about Wild right now to tell you if these cards are powerful or if these can like shift what's good in Wild format. Like, is this enough to make Cthulhu decks good? My instincts kind of tell me no, but who cares, right? I want to play fun new cards. We'll try it out anyway. We'll have to delve into Wild to see some of these cards in action. Although I think I am technically going to be out of town when this lands. I planned a small trip with our baby to visit some family because normally we don't get new Wild format card expansions at the end of August. This is a new thing. So it says Caverns of Time packs can also include special signature versions of other iconic Wild cards. Keep an eye out for dedicated Caverns of Time blog coming August 22nd with more details about the 34 new cards, the special signature variants, and more. And these are the only new cards in this article, it seems. I will wait to do a card review of sorts once we see more of these revealed, because number one, I don't really do a great job reviewing Wild format cards probably, but number two, there's only 3 cards so far. Now we're also here getting a list of all of the card like reprints that have buffs, and this is a text-based list. This is not going to be the most compelling viewing, but maybe I'll just pick out kind of one at random here for each class, and we can see what it looks like here. So, for instance, I don't know. I said random, and I'll pick Malorn. Death Threat will go dormant, revive after 2 friendly beasts die. So instead of being something that shuffles back into your deck as like an infinite value piece for Malorn, this instead is like a beast synergy piece where you get this extra body on board that just keeps coming back. Still seems really slow for me in Wild format, but again, you know, we'll have to try some of this stuff. Hunter, let's say like Lock and Load is now 0 mana. Snipe deals 6 damage. That's kind of cool. Mage, Flame Lance deals 25 damage to a minion, so they just made the number excessively big. Stuff like that's cool. Oh, this is nifty. Flame Leviathan still has 2 damage when you draw this, but now the damage will only affect non-mechs, and the card also has Rush, so some pretty significant upgrades. The Flame Leviathan maybe makes it good in like a mech deck, for instance. This is crazy. Lay on Hands is 3 mana. This seems wrong. That's totally changed the effect too much. That looks like a priest. That looks like the priest card Convert. I think that's probably a mistake. These look a little... Yeah, some of these look like the priest cards for Paladin. They might have some errors here. Maybe if I refresh, it'll be fixed. Let's move on then. Rogue, you know, they got some Jade upgrades. Jade Shuriken now deals 3 damage. Combo summon a Jade Golem. That seems a little better. Oh, Nubarak's pretty cool. 8 mana Death Rattle. Summon a 4/4 Nerubian with Death Rattle. Summon a Nubarak. So instead of him like getting added back to your hand, where you would just keep playing him over and over again, instead, much kind of like Malorn, he's going to be more about being on board as an infinite cycle, but still kind of expensive, I think, to get rolling. Shaman Tuskar Totemix going to 2. You know, Thunder Bluff Valiant has a battle cry now as well to buff your totems. That makes them kind of cost less mana to get rolling. Warlock Silverware Golems going up to 4 attack. Discard Warlock seems like it could actually maybe be sort of good. Warrior, what's interesting here? Oh, Iron Juggernaut has a Death Rattle now that also shuffles a mine into their deck, so you get like 20 damage worth of mines out of a single card. And then for neutral, a bunch of Cthulhu buffs, a bunch of Jade buffs. So a couple different archetypes here getting support. Also Don Honcho going down to 5 mana. Still maybe doesn't seem quite good enough. And then there are going to be additional cards, of course, revealed later on. And a State of Wild podcast, I guess, to talk more about this. All right, so next up, let's talk about standard balance changes. Some big shifts here in the meta, potentially. First off, for some nerfs, Hollow Hound is going down to 4 health instead of 6. This is played a ton, of course, in Hound Hunter right now, one of the very best decks in the game. I'm actually a little sad this part of that got nerfed as opposed to some of the big, crazy damage output. Like, they can summon like 2 16/16 King Crushes and stuff. That to me is scarier, and you know, it's nice for decks to have win conditions, sure, but I like that Hunter had some survivability. I will say, I guess at 4 health, this still retains some of that survivability. Like, this can still heal you 9+, but maybe it's not left over behind as much after taking a trade. So, you know, less kind of second turn hits or requirements for the opponent to have to clean up the rest of this body, which can get you that little bit of extra healing. So probably a card that the deck still runs because that first push of this is still worth it. But, you know, significant nonetheless. 2 health off something is pretty big. Probably Death Knight here suffering for Hunter's sins, though. Death Knight losing access to a better minion, which also kind of makes me sad. I'm just sad when like the life gain long-term more controlling tools are what's nerfed as opposed to some of the other things. But hey, I'll let you guys share your thoughts there. Also in Hunter, the costumed singer here is going down to 2 attack, or going down to 1 attack instead of 2 attack. Now this actually seems like a really good nerf. This card's so insane. This so often draws like 2 or 3 cards so easily in Hunter. I played both of some of these in my climb to Legend this season, and Costume Singer is just insanely strong. Now I will say, I didn't really care about the attack that much. Like, yeah, sometimes it's nice. The opponent has to eat a couple extra damages, you know, if a druid's pinging it off, or, you know, it takes a better trade on board occasionally, but it's really that effect that you care about with this card. I think this still absolutely gets run at 1 attack. So these both are minimal-ish changes to Hunter. I think Costume Singer is a great target. I'm less in love with the Hollow Hound targeting here, but I don't think these bring Hunter down a crazy amount. I think Hunter still looks like a really good deck. It probably still looks like the best deck after both these changes. So we're also getting Bioluminescence to 4 mana. This is going to impact Nature Shamans and the big OTK stuff. Now, I got to say, I did not see a single Nature Shaman on my climb to Legend this entire month. I think it's something you see more and more as you get higher in ranks, as people get more confident playing that sort of deck. It is sort of a tier 2 deck, so not really maybe a power outlier so much as a feels outlier, because it does feel really bad to just get blown up out of nowhere when they play like 10 cards and easily deal 30-40 damage from an empty board. So I'm fine with this from an experience standpoint. Bioluminescence, that's going to feel a lot better. Similarly here for Thaddeus Monstrosity, he's going to get an effect that's pretty big change. Instead of your cards costing 1 when he's working, they're going to cost 4 less. So no longer you're going to be able to cheat out like, you know, crazy 9 drops and stuff as easily for 1 mana. But if you have something that was going to cost 4, it can actually go to 0. I wonder if there's going to be some different decks that exist where it's about like cycling through 0 cost cards, you know, like I've got a bunch of 4 mana or less stuff that just draws me a bunch of cards and I have some crazy blow up turn. Because going to 0, of course, you can just do this for 10 mana and still have kind of a crazy pop off turn. So that's a different angle for this card. I wonder if this becomes problematic in a different way. Now, this will still successfully target Thaddeus Warlock, which is a pretty good deck right now. Often high tier 2, depending on which part of the meta you're in. So that deck was really frustrating to lose to sometimes. They just cheat out a giant Thaddeus early and blow you out, and this might help reduce some of those frustrating moments. Now that's it for the nerfs, but we're also getting some buffs here as well. Down with the Ship is now going to deal 3 damage to any target, not just minions. Still going to shuffle 2 random plagues into the opponent's deck, whether, of course, anything dies or not. Now that it's not a minion, there's no condition here. So guaranteed plagues and free face damage, which seems like a great, enormous upgrade for this card. Really nice, because number 1, plague decks care about doing damage to face sometimes. Having that finisher can be great with your plague combinations there, getting damage too. And then being able to target whatever you want and not having any kind of conditionality also seems perfect. So really, really big change here for a plague deck. For Demon Hunter, the Mythical Terror is going up to 4 attack. It's nice, like, yeah, okay. So, you know, it's a thing. It helps kill a little more stuff. I don't think that's meaningful, though. In the scheme of things, this does not change this card's fate as far as I can tell. The Frost Lotus Seedling, the defensive one of the 2 seedling cards, is now going to gain 10 armor instead of 8 armor and 5 armor instead of 4 armor at each of its respective stages. So, you know, basically 1 extra armor and 2 extra armor. There is, again, minor. I don't think that really changes this card's fate a lot. Disciple of Amba is going down to 5 mana. That feels a lot better for these earthen decks. They're so slow. I think the 4 mana one also could actually use a bump as well. Maybe 3 and 5 instead of 4 and 6 for these. It's definitely a scary thing. You don't want these getting too good because, you know, nobody wants Jades to return probably, or very few people do anyway. But a big change there. That's going to feel so much easier to play. 5 mana and 6 is a big stage of the game, right? Like 6 is things are getting out of hand. 5, you can maybe still weave this in and hope to recover a little better. Speaking of that, Tier is going from 7 to 6. This is a huge change. This card already seems like it has a lot of latent potential. Maybe not great in Paladin right now, but at 6 mana, this seems even better. That's the stage where building a board still matters a ton, and this could build some pretty scary boards. Not even necessarily just in an earthen deck, but maybe just like in a pure Paladin deck. This could be absolutely monstrous. For Priest, the Astral Automaton is going to 2 health. So a little bit of extra survivability baked into this one, which I think actually will matter. There are plenty of stages where you're like trying to get these to stick on like turn 3 or 4 or something. And, you know, that extra health goes a little ways in helping it survive some trades and such, which the longer it lives, the more easy it is to use the next one to scale the previous one up, you know, so it kind of snowballs from there. So actually, I would say surprisingly significant change for only a small health buff. Fellstring Harp for Warlock is going down to 1 mana, so a little easier to weave this in, giving Warlock some extra survivability. I like that, shifting Warlock away from like big cheats of Thaddeus and towards control stuff. Bladestorm going down to 2 mana. I don't think this makes a huge difference. This might have been a part of the Wild rework as well. I think maybe I saw that in Warrior up there. Stone Skin Armor going to 2 mana here. Losing some stats, yes, but this card is already so insane. I thought this was great at 3. Completely insane at 2. Weaving this in so easily with a hero power now, drawing 2 cards. That's going to be a great engine for all kinds of different warrior decks throughout this card's lifespan, I'm pretty sure. And then this change is amazing. Craftsman Hammer now reads whenever your hero attacks, gain 4 armor, as opposed to after your hero attacks, which, as you can see here, means it works with Odin. Because as you start to attack, that's whenever that armor is going to be gained. Your attack from Odin will resolve mid-swing, so it will actually be there when you land your swing, which is a big change. This card already felt pretty decent sometimes just to help keep things going and keep you alive in the mid-game. Now it's also a fantastic finisher for Odin, effectively making this 7 damage for each swing with Odin. So that's actually nuts. Trial by Fire going to 6. I thought this was already a decent board clear at 6. It's just going to feel that much better. So some really big warrior changes. I don't know if there's still enough to get warrior into the meta, but all in all, I think warrior got some big moves. Paladin actually got some big moves here as well. A few of these other ones feel a little incidental. I guess Plague's got a good change too. I don't see Demon Hunter, Druid, or Warlock changing much based on these buffs. Warlock's nerfed to Thaddeus effectively. Pretty big though. So real quick, Duels update. Basically nothing. It makes me really sad. I mean, there's going to be new Caverns of Time cards, of course, because they're getting added into the wild pool. So that's fun. We'll get to play with new things. There's some bans here. It's a little bit of maintenance, but no new specific Duels content, which that's been a theme. Makes me sad. We're getting a heroic tavern brawl, so you can kind of take some of these Caverns of Time cards into the wild side here for a wild Brawliseum. Again, I recommend no one does this. I'll do it for content, but most of the time this is not a good idea for people. We're getting a new event, the Battle of Ahn'Qiraj, just some more nice rewards. This has kind of got some theming around like alternate histories and stuff, kind of themed in with Caverns of Time. I'm going to link these patch notes below if you want all these juicy details. And then we've got the official launch of Twist with a new format. This format's going to be called the Wonders format, and it's a throwback to the early years of Hearthstone. It includes all expansions from Legacy through Mean Streets of Gadget Zans. If you're looking for a Mean Streets of Gadget Zan nostalgia meta, this could be for you. Now, do keep in mind the new Caverns of Time cards are going to be there as well, so it's not going to feel exactly like the old school Mean Streets of Gadget Zan meta. It's going to have some extra, flourishes, extra cards, extra changes, but may still be able to capture a lot of that, because some of the craziest broken stuff that Wild format currently has access to may not be there given this more limited meta. So this actually seems pretty fun. Again, unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling a little bit during this, so I may have a hard time making content that first week or so, but this is more of the sort of format I'm looking for, at least personally, in Twist. I'm more excited about these than what we got initially, which was not very fun for me. And then finally here, I'm not going to talk a ton about this because you guys don't come to me for Battlegrounds typically, but Battlegrounds is getting another huge season update. There are going to be these new things called anomalies that kind of change the rules of Battlegrounds. I've been talking about an idea like this for standard or regular Hearthstone for forever. I love the idea of kind of shifting rule sets that change what's going on in Hearthstone in any given day or week or whatever. Twist is kind of doing that, but I want that in the base game, I think. So some really, really cool stuff, like Tavern always has 7 minions, started Tavern Tier 2, Tavern Tier 7 exists, and there are some new Tavern Tier 7 minions to go along with that. On that note, tons of new content coming to Battlegrounds. I am not going to run you guys through all of these minions, obviously. I used to in the past, I would have done a review, but we can take a look maybe at a specific like Tier 7 minion. I think a few new ones actually got revealed in this blog post. The previous ones have been kind of getting revealed throughout the week. Let's find a new Tier 7 specifically. Where are they? Here they are. King Varian. When you sell this, discover 2 Tier 6 minions. It's kind of crazy value and some big Tier 6s. Moira Bronzebeard. Your battle cries and death rattles trigger twice. So like a Baron and Bran hybrid card. That's actually pretty insane. Some of these are older, I saw already. Recurring Nightmare. Death Rattle, give a different friendly undead Death Rattle, summon a recurring nightmare. Oh, dude, that's cool. Captain Sanders, make a friendly minion golden. Yikes, cool. Tide Oracle Morgul, poisonous. When this attacks and kills a minion, give its maximum stats to a minion in your hand. I think they've kind of moved away from poisonous as a keyword. It's been venomous, which does something different, so that's kind of a return. The Granite Guardian, taunt. Whenever this is attacked, reduce the attacker's health to 1. Oh, sick. And Sea Witch Zarjira, spellcraft, choose a different minion in the tavern to get a copy of. Okay, so every turn you get a different minion. Obsidian Ravager, whenever this attacks, deal damage equal to its attack to the target and an adjacent minion. So Dragon Cleave, I guess, kind of. The Boom Mobile, I saw yesterday, just crazy magnetic keywords. The Sanguine Champion, Battleground Death Rattle, your blood gems give an extra +1/+1 this game. Oh, dude, so every time it dies, it's going to scale up your blood gem scaling. Oh, and then Amalgadon's back. That's fun. The original OG Tier 7 minion. So pretty fun looking update for Battlegrounds as always. I actually really like hopping into Battlegrounds. when some of this stuff lands. So again, if you want more details on that, check the description. I'll include a link to this blog post, but not going to belabor all that, of course, for a non-Battlegrounds player. So all that said, crazy patch, wild format expansion, big standard format balance changes, lots to do and talk about in the future. So share your thoughts on this in the comments below. Thanks so much as always for watching. Stay tuned for as much as I can cover all this new stuff when it lands. And until next time, game on.